For the past 57 years, it's been redundant and quietly rusting. Now though, Torksey Viaduct, crossing the River Trent between Nottinghamshire and Lincolnshire, is fulfilling a transport role again after a footpath was established over it. This has given the Grade 2-star listed structure a more certain future. Since 2014, it's been included on the Heritage at Risk Register due to there being no agreed solution to halt its slow decay.
Go.
The viaduct formed part of the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway, engineered by John Fowler in the late 1840s and influenced by two grand structures on Robert Stephenson's line along the North Wales coast. So innovative was Fowler's design that Captain Lintorn Simmons, the Board of Trade's inspector, refused to sanction its use, stating that it was not of sufficient strength to support the repeated strains to which it will be subjected. Simmons had treated the two main spans as simple independent beams, with their ends supported by the central pier. However, the girders are in fact continuous, increasing their strength by about 1/3. 4 months of vigorous technical argument followed, involving many of the day's great engineers. This culminated in a series of trials on the viaduct, after which Simmons offered a face-saving compromise. Effectively, he backed down. It was perhaps difficult not to, in the face of such overwhelming opposition. But that doesn't mean the viaduct was perfect. Far from it.
This clearly was a little bit dubious as a structure. Fowler worked with Stephenson on constructing the bridges at Conway and Menai, and they were box girders where the trains ran through the middle of the box. And he had the idea of instead having the boxes outside with cross girders carrying the track. And that turned out to be a very good design of bridge, and there have been a lot of box girder bridges built since. This was the first large box girder bridge. There was a prototype in Lincoln, but this was the first real one.
The viaduct finally opened in April 1850 and tellingly gained a pair of Pratt trusses to stiffen the main spans 47 years later. It was last tested by a train in 1959. Custodianship passed to Railway Paths, sister charity of Sustrans, in 2001, and the structure has recently been the beneficiary of two £200,000 grants from the Railway Heritage Trust. These have been used for pragmatic refurbishment and laying the new path, recognising of course that despite the corroded supporting beams, loading is no longer much of an issue.
We did check that, but if you saw the beams, you had to ask the question. So we did some analysis. Not particularly easy to work out the strength as it is, but we made some assumptions, and basically we said if we lost all the top flanges of those transverse beams, would it still be able to take crowd loading? And crowd loading is basically if you jam as many people on here as possible, would it take their weight? And it certainly did, with ample reserve.
Currently, the viaduct is open to foot traffic only, steps having been installed at both ends to reach it from existing rights-of-way. But despite that limitation, the route will greatly improve connectivity between villages separated by the river.
Yeah, it's a great link. It's a great link. When I was first coming here on site visits, you'd come to that end of the viaduct, and then you'd want to come round to have a look at the other end of the viaduct. So you've got about, I don't know, 100 metres of distance here, but it'd be about a 15-mile journey.
Plans are being developed to extend the route westwards and make the structure fully accessible to cyclists, horse riders and wheelchair users. But that will require significant extra funding and permission from various landowners. In the meantime, walkers can at least explore the other side of the river, thanks to John Fowler's contentious engineering.